Hey, let's do another anime ranking. This one is for main characters. Now, I've already exposed myself as somewhat illiterate in in the manga anime world. I'm an older anime fan, and so I'm not, I don't know a lot of the new characters and the new shows. So here are just a few of the characters who I am familiar with. Let's go ahead and start with the main character from one of my favorite all-time animes, Yusuke Urameshi. Now, him as a protagonist, I think he is pretty great. He's got a lot of heart despite his attitude. He's obviously misogynistic a little bit. I mean, he still loves Keiko and everything, but like he doesn't always treat her well. But, he also learns and grows, and I feel like they do a decent job with the power scaling. I just, I really like this show. I think they do a good job of keeping him somewhat humble and, you know, he has to work for it and he grows a lot. And so I think I'm gonna put him probably in S tier. I think he's a really great character. I could probably say the same for Deku. Deku's pretty great. He's really funny seeing this like nerdy kid who gets this super strength and everything. I don't know, like him being such a crybaby all the time, that's a little a little off-putting, I feel like. I don't know, maybe I'll put him here just for the sake of variety. I do feel like in some ways they're similar, although they come at it from totally opposite sides, right? He's the punk and he's the nerd, and but they're in some ways they function somewhat similarly. Let's see. Let's do Spike. Spike from Cowboy Bebop. This is I don't know, I don't have a whole lot of feelings on Cowboy Bebop. I like some of it and other parts of it I'm just like, it's not really my genre of anime. But Spike, I do feel, is a pretty great character. He's very interesting and cool, and I just don't know where to place this guy. I think I will put him. I think I'll put him here. We've got something to say for sure for aesthetics, right? He looks really cool. He has cool lines. Whereas if we go with purely on aesthetics here, I agree that Deku is still below for aesthetics. Anyway, moving on. Let's see, Naruto. Naruto, I like it. He's in some ways similar, kind of like the goofy guy who gets the powers. Personally, I do think he can be kind of annoying sometimes, so maybe I'll put him down in A or B. Yeah, I'm gonna put him down here. I'm not, like I said before, I'm not a huge Naruto fan. I do intend to go back and familiarize myself with it more, but as for now, I'm gonna put him in B. Okay, let's do Edward. Edward. Like I said before, I haven't seen much of this. So because of that, I can't give him a super high ranking. But I do like the aesthetic. I like the idea of the show. I like his hot temper. I think I'll put him in A. I'll reevaluate when I do get more familiar with him. Same thing with this guy. I really just haven't seen enough Hunter x Hunter. He seems cool. He, well, not cool, but like, he seems knowledgeable. So part of me wants to put him up here. Like, he gives off like the quiet, philosophical, like, I don't know. I like that. I might have to put him in A. Let's see. Bleach, what's his name? I can't remember. I feel like he's just kind of average. I don't know. I feel like some characters are great characters and some characters are more like vehicles for stuff to happen, and I feel like he is more of a vehicle. Like, and I know I've only read, a couple arcs of the manga, so I'm not like super into the anime. Um, but I don't get a whole lot from him. In some, like, he's got kind of the attitude of Urameshi, I think. Um, but I don't know. I feel like he's a little bit of a blank slate for me. I don't really feel like I know a lot about him. Like I said, it's probably because I just haven't gotten into Bleach very much, but he just seems more like generic anime character to progress plot. Look how strong, whereas I feel like Yusuke, right off the bat, you know his attitude, you know his temperament and everything. He's very distinct, whereas him, I don't know. It doesn't work for me personally. Okay, let's do Saitama. I again, I feel like I say this for everything. I haven't seen a lot of One Punch Man, just like a few episodes and some key moments here. Um, but I still feel like I know this character to an extent. I think it's such an interesting concept. I feel like the concept is so tightly linked with the character that I can't really separate the plot from the the anime. And I'm not saying that in a bad way at all. I feel like it's the complete opposite with Bleach here, because Bleach, it's like, in my opinion, you can pretty much stick anyone in that role and just be like, look, super strong spirit power dude. Like, whereas Saitama, his personality kind of is the story. So I think for that, um, I think I'm gonna put him in A. I think he's interesting, but like, I don't know. I just, I haven't been super compelled to watch more of it. I'm curious about it, but he's definitely a memorable character. All right, let's do let's do Luffy. Why not Luffy? So he definitely, I feel like I can go a lot of ways with this one. In some ways, he's very off-putting, and so I don't particularly like Luffy in some ways. I do think he has, some gross tendencies. And also, in some ways, he's like this guy from Bleach where, well, no, I guess that's not really true. Because Louis, like the whole reason that he is as wonderful as he is because of the will of D and all of that stuff, and his optimism is great. I do like how Iñaki Godoy is portraying him in the live action. I feel like that's part of why I fell in love with One Piece when I watched the live action, is because he kind of gives me Avatar Aang vibes, just that optimism, positivity. I know that anime is a little different from Godoy's performance of him, but let's see, going strictly from the anime, I'm gonna put him in B tier because while I do think he's a great character, I do personally have some issues with him. I don't love, but I do think he's a very interesting character. Like for that, I could move him higher, but I'm just gonna leave him in B with Naruto. And the last one I'm gonna do for today is Toru Honda. I'm kind of surprised she's in here with all the all the shonen. Um, but anyway, so Toru, um, I love Fruits Basket, and I think she's a really great character. I think in some ways I do wish she could be a little bit more outspoken. She does kind of grow her voice as she goes. Um, but I do think, her humility, she's not entirely a doormat. She kind of starts as a doormat, but she learns to uh, trust herself, and she does start to insert herself and speak up a little more. And I think she's a great character, and there's strength even in not being a a one punch man. So I'm going to put her in S tier. I think she's pretty great. Okay, I think I'm pretty happy with the way this list turned out. I know I don't have anyone up here in SS tier, but I don't know if any of these characters are just absolute perfection, but I do love all, well, I don't really know this guy, but I like all these characters. So, all right, that'll be it for today's ranking.